Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like you weren't being heard or no one was understanding what you were saying? Well, imagine that this is happening to your ancestors all the time. Stay tuned and we'll explore that. Hi everybody, welcome back to another video by Pan Society. I'm Cherie, and today I want to talk about listening on a small scale at home and on a broader scale when you're out and about. I get a lot of questions about talking to your ancestors and being able to hear them, and maybe you don't know if you're actually communicating. And I had a situation happen to me recently that made me think about this a little bit more and gave me a little bit more perspective. My mom was here not too long ago, and we have a little bit of a communication barrier anyway because we both immigrated to this country, but I grew up here. So as a younger person growing up in America, I grew up learning English or speaking English. My mom, on the other hand, had to learn it, and so there was a divide. And as we came to this country, my mom wanted to assimilate as quickly as possible. So unfortunately, she didn't speak to my sister and I in Korean as much as, we probably would have liked. So our Korean got rusty, our English, improved and that was our primary language. And then it kind of left us without a way to communicate with each other. Or I won't say without a way to communicate, but it's hard. And then as we got older, it seemed like she wasn't listening to us or hearing us. And it wasn't until recently that I realized she created a world in which we couldn't communicate. There were some incidents that happened. I was like, and I felt like, and I told her, I was like, I don't think you hear me. And the truth was she didn't. And it wasn't, and I'm not blaming my mom, I'm not attacking her in any way. It gave me some clarification, so now that I can address it now. And it's because there was a world in which we didn't have a common language to speak to each other. So it's kind of that is something we can improve on. So having that, I thought about it in general, like in our family lives, with our friends. Are we properly hearing each other? Are we communicating clearly? Are we listening? And listening takes practice. It's you think you actually hear somebody, but it's easy to nod off, not pay attention to what the conversation is, or to just not seem invested. And it's something that can happen easily. But true, honest listening takes practice, because it's not just with our friends and family. Like when it comes to strangers out, and I know sometimes when you're like, oh, well, it's not information I need, or people process differently. It's a skill that we always need to practice. Now this can go further towards our ancestors. Like if you're not practiced at listening, you're not going to hear them. And that causes a communication issue. This is a world that you guys can't communicate with each other. So take the time to hear. Some people will ask a question and then not get a response, and they're like, oh, okay, well, nothing happened and I don't believe in ancestors. But that's not how it works. Our ancestors contact us in different ways, whether it's through our dreams, through writing. Some you can actually physically hear. Some give you visions. Everything is different. Every ancestor is different. Every family is different. Every person is different. So we have to adjust how we hear and practice that. So if you're not getting an answer in a way that you would like, change up the question, change up how you're asking, change up how you're listening. And always be open-minded and attuned to that maybe the answer is coming to you or a response is coming to you and you just don't hear it. Let's take this one step further and let's broaden this out to nature and the outdoors and everything that's happening on this planet. How often do you go outside and walk in the forest and not actually hear everything that's happening? The beautiful birds that are singing, the rustling of the leaves as the wind blows through them. There's lots of conversation going on out there. The roots, the sounds of things growing, scattering through the leaves. Like there's tons and tons of things happening out there, things with voices that are talking to you, but talking to us, and we're not practiced at hearing them. So I challenge you to take some time this week, tomorrow, however long you want to make it personal. And practice listening. Practice listening to people around you, immediately around you. Practice listening to your ancestors. And above all, practice listening to what nature is telling you as well. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time in another Pan video.